The recent demolition in Enugu, was it necessary or fair? The recent demolition in Enugu, was it necessary or fair? One side will be saying that yes, it was fair and it was necessary. And the other side will be saying, no ma, it wasn't fair and it wasn't necessary. Our judges, do you have a few words for us?
All I would say is be confident. Don't rely too much on what you've studied. A lot of this is really common sense and wisdom. And what common sense and wisdom means is it comes from here. So, it's things that you already know. You just have to block out the distractions and channel your inner wisdom and speak from there.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Dara. Namdi, any word from you?
Okay, I think, look, she said it already. Just try not to cram or recite. Try and have a train of thought. Even going from debater to debater, let it be like a continuous experience. And as much as possible, try and stay within your argument. You don't need to list a million points. 3 very strong, relevant points will be very well explained. Will do better than listing a litany of things that don't relate to each other. So best of luck to both teams.
All right, thank you so much, Namdi. And our guest judge, any word, Dr. Nkiruka.
Okay, all I want to say, we've said it all, but try and engage your audience. Eye contact backs in the euphoria of the experience you're about to share with us this morning. All the very best.
We're using the premise for this debate. So the premise will come forward, first debater, second debater, and that's it. No closer. I wish you all best of luck.
Speaking about the demolition that happened in Enugu, I would like to let you know the reasons why the demolition happened. They were just to make way for housing estates and the terminal, transportation terminal. But they are disregarding some important roles those places have played before now. There are some socio-economic roles those places have played, which they fail to look into. Talking about the economic dependence of those places have been an economic hub that has housed so many shop owners, so many traders, and these have been a primary places they have been a primary places of income to all of them. But all these places were demolished, disregarding the importance of those places before now. But we are not going to look at. Sorry. All right. Now, the question that we need to ask the government is why the urgency of this thing? I mean, we have so many problems facing the state, not the transportation terminal and the housing estate. People are hungry, people need food, but why the transportation terminal now? This thing seems to be at the expense of it seems to be at the expense of the citizen, and the government are not channeling the energy to see if those needs that people want are actually fulfilled. There are basic infrastructure that make up a state and make it a world-class state, and the government forfeited to look at that. We have the technology infrastructure, we have the academics infrastructure. Why the government is basically demolishing schools? We have the service sector, we have the diverse of industry, and let me tell you, people over there are not surviving the aftermath of this event.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, panel of judges. My name is Umar Anok Kenneth Mary, and I'm the first speaker from the Polemics. And we are supporting the motion that the recent demolition in Enugu is necessary. And for us, it is not just necessary, but very necessary. Have you ever imagined Enugu, a place where homes and businesses are not ravaged by floods? Have you ever imagined a city where children can actually play in the green space instead of in garbages and debris? Have you ever imagined a city where you can get to your workplace without being held in traffic. If really this is what the state government is actually doing, then I think that the demolition is very necessary. And before you say that it is unfair, let me remind you that have you considered the consequences of inaction? If this demolition were not done, have you considered the consequences of inaction? I'll give you instances. In June 12th, Vanguard Nigeria released a news about one Mr. Chokwodi who just had his traditional marriage and was preparing for his white wedding. He got drowned in his apartment because the building where he rented was structured in obstruction of the drainage that connects the famous Mpokete and the presidential road, Ogui. And because of this obstruction, there was flood in the house. It cost a life. Another incident happened, recorded by Vanguard Nigeria as well, in 2nd of September 2023, where 4 kids were killed in a collapsed building just behind the famous number 4. Okay, in conclusion,
it's very easy for the government to come with grand words and already prepared defenses for what they have done. But if you look at the situation on ground, it's very different from the things that they're trying to tell us. For example, if you look at the decision-making process for this demolition, where the people represented, in a democracy, it's crucial that the people you're looking after their interests have to be represented sufficiently in any decision. If you ask where the market leaders, where the community leaders, where other stakeholders present at the table where the demolition was decided, no. If you ask was there a public hearing carried? If you ask was there a public hearing carried out? How did the government come to know about the opinions of the people on what they wanted to do? There was none carried out. The answer is no. What we saw was a complete disregard on the part of the government of the opinions of the people that they were called to serve. Now, if you look at the claims of the government that notices were given and timely notices were given, you see that there was a mismanagement of information. The process of spreading information wasn't as smooth as they want us to believe. For example, in Enugu, in the capital city of Enugu, somewhere around Holy Ghost, there is a land that's owned by the Nigerian Railway Corporation. A couple of months before the demolition, the Enugu State government came and marked some of those buildings for demolition. What happened was, a little while after, the Nigerian Railway Corporation came and remarked those buildings, said, keep off, this is property of the NRC. If you were a business owner, if you were a landlord, a shop owner in that area, it's very easy for us to forget how easy it is to misinterpret information that wasn't passed across in a straightforward manner. There's also reports that the NRC was not in support of this demolition that was carried out by the Enugu State government, because the President General of the Nigerian Union of Workers came out to say that they didn't have the right documents. They didn't do what they were meant to do. They were meant to construct other offices and residential buildings before tearing the ones that they did down, but they did not. Now let's look at the government. The government said that adequate plans for accommodation has been made for the traders. Let me not say. Let's address that claim, or rather the lack of evidence to support that claim. If you go to Nsukka, they were told, oh, you can move your goods from here to the new market at Aku Road. When they got to Aku Road, what did they see? The government told them that there are over 4,000, 5,000 shops there, but eyewitness reports show us that there are less than 2,000. Not to take into account the fact that there are already occupants of that market. So where exactly do you want these people that you have destroyed the places that they were conducting their businesses with dignity to take their wares to? People are selling from their cars, people are selling from their houses. It is undignified. Now, now if we look at the government's plans for compensation, they've been singing, we will compensate this person, we will compensate that person. But if you look at how this was implemented, you will see that the only people who have had access to this compensation were a few big businesses that were owned by private individuals. The shop owners were told, oh, you can bring applications, submit your applications for compensation. But since then, our promises then they chop. It is not as straightforward as they want us to believe. As for the petty traders, the retailers, the people that were renting shops, nothing is being said about how to help them recuperate their losses. They have investments, how to help them restart their businesses to wherever they will move them to. Now, before I close, I want to address what their premise giver said. He said something about he was painting a picture of a beautiful Enugu where children are free to play and whatever, but it doesn't make any sense for you to start tearing down the structures that you already have when you haven't implemented a reasonable plan.
Standing on already existing protocol, my gallant judges and my beautiful audience, I would like you to know, it is in right to know that the lands, the properties in Nigeria are in the realms of the government. Forget about either state or federal government, both are united because we have three judicial, which are the state, federal, state, and local government. And also, according to section 44, subsection 3 of Nigerian Constitution 1999, it is stated that every land, every property belongs to the state government of that jurisdiction, and also the local government also belongs to the local government of that jurisdiction, although the federal might have interest in the land. According to Land Use Act CAF 2004, it was also stated that government has the right to own the properties in every state, majorly in the urban centers. If you look for air and forth, where we are talking about right now is the urban centers of the most captivating area in the state, where there is access and every other necessary things can be implemented. Let's look at the buildings that were in these places. Majority of these buildings, they are old, tattered, and they are not even efficient enough. And as a government, number one thing that must be considered is the public safety of women, because if anything, my safety must be considered before anything happens. From the information I gathered, I was able to know that the public safety of the people in that environment can be jeopardized if anything happens. Number one, there is traffic. Look at in case of emergencies. Number two, the buildings there, they are old enough. So, and according to the researchers, it's been stated that everything has an expiry date. As a woman, we have an expiry date. As the materials also that we use, we have an expiry date. So, with expiration, it is already known that this building can collapse for further investigation, because there is a way we can investigate the extent of how the buildings can last. So that's why the demolition is necessary. Another thing is the urban development. If you look at it, in the Holy Ghost Park there is a lot of traffic. As I stated earlier, transporting an emergency vehicle will be delayed no matter what, because just imagine an hospital trying to rush out a coma man to a nearby hospital we find it difficult to do that, which will lead to what? Loss of life of that individual. And also, the development, the implementation of these terminal buses will help the place to clear the place whereby the bus terminals will be the only one moving in that area. And also, the local transport can be sent to another local area whereby they can be performing their operations. Another one I want us to consider is the environmental consideration. We all know that where there is people jam-packed, there will be any sort of indecent dropping of refugees or any other things. This can contaminate the environment, and this is a busy place whereby majority comes in and goes every day. So after the come in and go, hereby the contamination can be transferred to one individual family from one place to another, whereby the whole community is being affected. So I will say the demolition will give a way whereby the control of people in that environment can be managed, because the structure being laid down before is not manageable enough. That's why the government was trying to go into that way so that they can be able to manage that environment very well. I'll rest for it.
Good day, everyone. My name is Stephanie Oluchukwu. Okay, to start off this, to continue from where my fellow debaters had been, let's just see this as an operation scenario. Before an operation takes place, a patient is given anesthesia to make sure that the person does not feel the pain, or entirely does not feel the pain that's going to go on. So now, put Enugu State as a patient who's about to undergoing operation. The Enugu State government did not bring forward incentives or things that is going to make life easier for its people before taking away their only source of livelihood. Now, these incentives include adequate time. Yes, there were already official statements that demolition is going to take place. But I stay in Nsukka, and then there were statements like, oh, we're not sure it's going to take place. Some people were like, they said they want to build ShopRite in the place, and all of those things. People were not sure. They were only given 72 hours to pack out after the official marking of those buildings. That is when the people were officially noted that this place is about to go down. That is very much unfair and unset, and makes the government looks as if they don't care about the people. Going further, they said that adequate provisions were made. They also gave made rooms for compensations, but none of these have been proved. Now, does the government actually want to economically cripple the state? We're talking about good roads in a country where the problem of the people are hunger and financial crisis. The government destroying what the people used to see, destroying what the people used to take care of themselves, is a form of economically crippling the place. Now, can we just take it down to a situation of a family? Most families now, some of them won't be able to pay house rent, their children's school fees, and then this is going to totally alter the lives of just children. I could use myself as an example. During the regime of Dara Akinyele, there was a time that she had to go to Headbridge. Then there were issues that there were no proper screening. My father was a victim of that case, and ever since that day, I've not yet recovered from it. I'm under this edge of financial stress. I'm always thinking, oh God, how do I make money very fast? You can see that way, you are putting pressure on the kids. They no longer concentrate on becoming themselves again, and they forget about education and are thinking of how to foster. Have we talked about the rates of crime that is going to increase and unemployment? Now, go to all of these places that were destroyed. All those places that were destroyed, there were people who were learning skills there. There were people who had jobs there. And now this place is taken away. There is no amount of job that the transport system is going to bring that is going to equate that of the market. This market contained nothing less than 10,000 people, both parents and young individuals. And then the transport system can only mostly take in drivers, and then people will be cleaners. The first speaker said something about pollution, flooding. Now, pollution, you bear me witness that if you go to Peace Park, it's never neat. Pollution can even come more from transport system because many of us Nigerians are not cultured, and that is a bad thing. Going forward to flooding, destruction. Whenever you bring down a building, there are bulldozers that come. You are scattering the topography of the ground, which can lead more to like, okay, what if we're in this building and then it collapses? And why it's collapsing is not because of the infrastructure is bad, well, because of the topography beyond the ground has been shifted by something that happened initially. Furthermore, to continue, this can lead to poverty of the states. People cannot even afford to feed now. And then the government should look into situations like insecurity. As I was coming, I'm wearing my rosary because from Enugu to Nsukka, you're not sure you're going to reach here. The government, and then one thing that delayed us as well was that all the police were always collecting money from us. So the government should look into situations like this about security, so people will not be scared. Oh, am I going to go home and come back safely? And okay, now the people see the government as their problem. The government had the best for us at heart, but they didn't go about it the right way. So instead of destructive construction, think about constructive preservation. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. All protocols duly observed. My name is Edidi Ongakban, and I'll be furthering the discussion by my fellow debaters. Now, let's consider Enugu. Have you seen the blueprint or the blueprints for the mega bus terminal on the internet? If you've seen it, can I see your hands, please? If you've seen that blueprint, you understand that the government has a mega structure to be built. Like my opponent said, that is not going to create jobs or people are losing jobs. It's just like you saying that in the days where we use aerial view to do videography, where we use drones and when we use camera, or than taking helicopters to have both the helicopter driver or the helicopter, the pilot, and the person holding the camera, then you tell me that that is going to take the job of the cameraman and the person driving the plane. But then, do you consider the jobs that is to be given to the person producing the drones? Will you consider the jobs that will be given to the person that is producing, that will be maintaining the drones? Would you consider, let's bring it down to the bus terminal. Now, this bus terminal is a mega structure. I saw it on the internet and I was surprised at it. Now, it's going to create massive job in Enugu because it is not just going to be a bus driver thing. It's going to be a structure with administration. It's going to be a structure that will employ maximum citizens of the state. So when she was saying about destroying jobs, you go to Holy Ghost. The reason why this demolition is a thing in Enugu State is because of the Railway Commission, and the land belongs to the Railway Commission, and I think they are raising all the dust of the whole demolition. Or that demolition that took place, people didn't actually say much about it, because I'll tell you for a fact that in the Railway Commission there was an MOU, and the government, the state government and the the Railway Commissions had an agreement. Whether there is an evidence or not, I can't for sure, but from the say of the Commissioner of Transport of Enugu State, it was clearly stated that Enugu State made proper procedures to make sure that those demolitions were carried out. Now, talking about time, this demolition was marked out 6 months to 7 months ago. That was last year, October 2023. And you know, Nigerians, when you say something from the government, you always feel like the government is not serious. The government is not going to come. Let's just continue like that. But it's a bad habit to the Nigerians to wait for the 9 minutes for demolitions, and then they are struggling to evacuate their goods and stuff. And if you can bear me witness that banks like the FCMB, the EcoBank, they were able to vacate their premises because those are structural administration. They had proper administration and they understood how the government was working. But the Nigerian will feel like, no, it does not matter. It's not important. So anytime the government should come, we feel like the government is against us. I'd want to bring to your notice that the government has the blueprint for the state. The government has the best interest for the state. So if the government is saying a thing, Nigerians should take it to heart. Nigerians should be open to development. Now, I'll tell you that the reason why people are complaining about compensation is because the Railway Commission, people staying on those lands, the lands were on lease, and the government will not attend to people that pay rent to a land. They would only attend to the owners of the land, and the owners of the land are the Railway Commissions. So the government does not have right to relate with the people individually. So I bring to you to your understanding to say that. Thank you.
Can I say that it's going to be a stiff competition? I mean, can we put our hands together once more? A lot of points. I was just sitting and nodding my head like this, just nodding and receiving information and receiving sense as well. I mean, really interesting one there. Now it's time for the moment that, well, I wait for actually. I'm sure many of you do as well. The responses or the response and rebuttal, as we'll only have one person from each side come forward. And we're going to start with the second to last team to speak. Team Lumin would like you to send one person to, if you have your mic, you can actually use your mic. If you can just respond to the motions raised by polemics. And then they would now respond to your own response on that. So they're going to rebut that response. So you can do that, and then our judges would ask their questions.
My name is Oguda Chikamso Victoria. Okay, I had my opponent talk about the Constitution, saying that the government owns all the properties and they have the right to do with it whatever they want to. Now, I would like to ask, the same Constitution has stated the fundamental human rights of the citizens. We citizens have the right to fair hearing. We have the right to ownership of properties, and these rights are being violated. I feel that the government should have sent out representatives to relate the interests of the people and thereby reaching a good agreement or a suitable agreement to favor both the government and the citizen, as the both has the interest of the nation or the state at hand. Now, he talked about creating employment. What we are talking about is the network of the market that was destroyed at Ogige Market. That market is worth over 10 billion. Now, creating employment for what number of people? What number of people are they going to create employment for? Over 7,000 traders were displaced at Ogige Market, and creating employment.
Okay, I'd want to respond to that. The procedures that the government needed to demolish a building is that they would actually have to provide compensation to the people. And point of correction, it is not like the government owns the property. The government has a right to revoke the ownership of a property. So yes, the government can revoke a property that you are owned, despite your certificates, despite the papers you're having. Also, I'm saying that the jobs that is going to be created by that terminal is going to bring investors, or when the terminal is built, is going to bring investors to the states. Compare Enugu and Port Harcourt, you see the road network, and you compare them and see the investment in Port Harcourt and Enugu. Then you can tell me if the Holy Ghost that is worth 10 million naira is worth keeping for a long period of time. Also, I'm going to say that the procedures that the government took, it cannot be so fast. It is not skyrocketing. It's a process. Yes, it's a process.